Good afternoon, Summoners, and welcome to the Legion of Champions, brought to you by Lenovo and Intel. We will be your shoutcasters. My name is Vulcan, and with me is Gisto. Moving on to the finals to determine who will be moving on to Bangkok to represent the Philippines in the grand finals.
Yeah, only two teams remain now, and for both of these, they've worked very hard to reach this point, battling out very tough competition through the online qualifiers, and now only one best of three remains in order for them to possibly represent the country.
In January, we're moving on to Bangkok. So, very interesting to see which team will be making it up the ranks and will be declared the champion in our respective country. But let's get to know the teams. Espionage. We are very familiar with Espionage. They have tried to make their name known, make it to the PGS in the promotions and relegations, but sadly did not make the cut.
Yeah, of course, the jump to pro is a very tough task for any team, really, and right now they have the opportunity to possibly compete internationally, and that's really a huge point of experience for all of these players, a huge opportunity, I should say, for all of them.
But now let's get to know with Red Light. It's not a familiar name that we are used to because we know that Red Light also, in a way, when I saw the brackets, they were able to defeat some of the PGS teams. So, in short, I don't think this is going to be an underdog scenario where Red Light will be facing against one of the tryouts of the PR.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what to expect from both of these teams, but I do expect the matches to be very, very explosive.
And so far, this is going to be game one. Espionage versus Red Light. Know that this is the best of three. And again, this is Legion of Champions, brought to you by Lenovo and Intel. So far, we have to get ready for our players out there. This is going to be an exciting best of three series. And so far, I mean, Espionage, Red Light, it's kind of a, let's say, hard to really decide where a best of three series is kind of stressful.
Yeah, of course, in a best of three, you want to start out your first match with a win to build momentum, because you do need to win 2 games in order to advance, and it will rely a lot on your adaptability, how you react to what your opponent throws at you, and there's really so much things you could do as far as strategizing in a best of 3 series.
And I don't think these teams are strangers to the best of 3 series, and not to mention how you would have to adapt and strategize in your planning in the best of 3 series. I mean, we've seen players out in the PR. Espionage is no stranger towards the pro scene, but for Red Light, we did see their record, their history. They were able to defeat some of the PGS teams, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I do believe during the online qualifiers for this, they were able to take down 2 of the teams that eventually qualified for the Pro Gaming Series. So definitely tough opponents for Espionage here. But Espionage, we know they have these cheese picks. They have these very interesting pocket picks that could possibly come out in the series and could throw off Red Light.
So I think this is very exciting to see, because when it comes to international tournaments in the Philippines, rather, going on to the international stage, I think it's very exciting and a huge boost in confidence if you make it towards the stage, which is going to be in Bangkok this next year, January, actually.
Yeah, of course, any team would be very happy to compete internationally. Like, for all these players, just going to a different country, seeing the site, taking in the food, all that stuff, just the experience. And for the semi-pros as well, this is a really big opportunity for both teams.
So we'll be moving on to the drafting phase pretty shortly, because this is going to be a best of 3 series again. And not to mention, Espionage will be playing one of the PR teams, like I always say, because of the reason that I keep saying that Espionage is used to play in PRs is because the grind towards promotions and relegations is very tough. And for them to make it to the finals for the Legion of Champions is not a surprise, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely no surprise that Espionage did make it to the final here. They do have some pro players, former pro players, I should say, on the roster. So definitely stacked as far as experience goes.
So, I mean, Chisto, what are your predictions in this game? Because we're talking about pure PR experience compared to Red Light, who I don't think even qualified for PR.
Yeah, I think Red Light, they have some LCL talent on the roster coming from the University of Iloilo. And having that LCL experience, having that competitive experience could be the edge over Espionage today. But really, I don't know what to expect coming from both teams.
I mean, the LCL is always a good stage to determine fresh talents. And I would say the League of Legends Collegiate League is something that where I think even pro teams try to scout out new members for their pro teams.
Yeah, definitely, because the collegiate scene here, as far as competitive League of Legends go, it has been rising as far as the competitiveness of all the players. Everyone has been constantly getting better throughout the years, and yeah, I agree with you. It has been a sort of scouting grounds for these pro teams.
So far, I mean, when you're talking about pro teams, what comes into your mind?
Pro gaming series.
No, I mean, what's the characteristics of a pro?
They work hard.
Not just work hard, I mean, they also have sacrifices, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So far for LCL, I mean, do you think that it's going to be more of a, I would say, the grown-ups or more experienced, more grown-up players facing against some of the younger generations?
I'd say it's about even.
It's about even in a way what?
In a way where they aren't alien to this competitive scene, where they've both experienced very tough competition as far as League of Legends goes.
For PR to be a very grind-heavy is something that I would really, in a way, praise the players in a sense that they made it this far. But right now, this is the Lenovo Legion of Champions, brought to you by Lenovo and Intel. We are going to be a casters again for Game 1. And when it comes to best of 3, Chisto, it's about revealing your cards. Is that correct? I mean, too early? Is that going to be too dangerous?
During the Game 1, you want to feel out your opponent first, try and see what they're going to throw at you, and try to adapt during the next game once you know what strategies they're going to. You don't want to pull your ace card like right out of the bat in order to get that first win. You really want to try and detect what your opponent will be throwing at you.
So Game 1 is more of testing grounds in the sense that, yeah, like when it comes to best of 3 series, whoever gets the 2 points first will be winning the finals and moving on to Bangkok in this January. So, I mean, I think we're going to be seeing some of, let's say, clutch games, because when it comes to Game 1, it's kind of a rough start. I mean, a warm-up game, if I like to call it myself. But when it comes to warm-up games, sometimes when you overwork your warm-up, you may sprain a muscle and then may not play properly.
Yeah, let's hope that these teams came prepared to really face probably the toughest competition they can face right now. So, yeah, very excited to see the match.
And now let's get ready to see the drafting phase pretty much shortly, because this is again best of 3 series. Espionage playing against Red Light. But Chisto, Red Light, it's not a familiar name if you would say. I mean, you used to play in the, or rather, used to be a coach.
Yeah, I used to be a coach.
You used to be a coach in the pro scene. Have you heard of a team called Red Light?
I have not actually. Well, since considering I did coach from NCR, given that they aren't from the same region as me, I'm not that familiar with them, but I definitely think they are a good team, considering they are in the finals versus Espionage, and now we'll be heading straight into the drafting phase. Let's see what these teams have in store for us.
So far, Espionage will be playing on the blue side. They have the first priority, whereas Red Light will be playing on the red side. I think this is a team from Iloilo, if I'm not mistaken. So, the representative from Iloilo, the pride of Iloilo. We have a lot of pro players coming from there, I would say. Especially AX.
Yeah,
one of the big names in Iloilo.
Yeah, Iloilo definitely stacked as far as League of Legends talents go. But looking at the bans right here, it looks like Red Light, they don't want to deal with Kyler's cheese picks, and they ban out their top laners. Man, so much target banning, trying to pinch the pool off Kyler.
We did see how Kyler can use that Ornn Shen, one of the most picked top laners in this preseason as of now. So, it's very common knowledge to actually remove it. And now, Red Light will be taking away the Gnar and the Jhin. We'll be seeing a jungle Shyvana, very farm-heavy base champion.
Yeah, I think with the new runes reforges, Shyvana can be a very strong jungler. She can proc the press the attack very quickly because her Q gives her 2 auto attacks, and they'll just instantly stack the press the attack and give you so much burst damage if you are able to get farmed up. Shyvana needs a lot of gold in order to be effective as the game goes on. But the response from Red Light, picking up the blind pick Gnar here, very interesting, because we normally see Gnar as a counter pick to specific melee matchups in the top lane, and now with a blind pick top laner, Espionage, they have the option to counter pick the Gnar with something that can favor them.
So when you're talking about a blind pick Gnar, what can possibly be picked into this Gnar? Because most likely, I can only picture so much. Let's say we sometimes see a Gnar and a Maokai matchup. That's just going to be disastrous. And for Espionage, they banned out the Jace. So what's going to be in their top laner? That's going to be a very interesting pick that we will have to wait.
Yeah, definitely. But right now, Espionage, they are hovering over the Ashe. A very common matchup we see into the Jin will be able to match the engage range because Ashe does have that global ultimate which can shut down the curtain call if you land it.
And so far for counter picks, so I think Espionage is drafting this pretty, I would say smart, pretty clever. But for them to be at a spot where they're on the blue side, seems to me like Red Light has the advantage here.
Yeah, being on the red side, Red Light do have that option for a last pick, possibly counter pick for the mid lane. We've seen a majority of teams do that as far as competitive League of Legends go. Whoa, is this a Z lock-in? Wow. Looks like there will be a Z for Endless Ace.
So far, that will be the mid lane Z for Endless Ace. And I think this is going to be Endless Ace used to play for AEX, so Red Light, I think they're familiar with Endless Ace here. But right now, let's move on to the second phase of the ban. Already removing the support. And so far, I think this is going to be a very interesting game because I think this is I just heard that it's supposed to be a Zoe pick, so we're going to be seeing Zoe in one of the competitive scene this early.
Finally, we get to see Zoe in.
Normally, they don't really use it this early. They have to do a lot of testing to make it work.
Yeah, but since it is a Zoe, let's talk about what she can do. She's very impressive as a champion, deals a lot of insane bursts. That damage can really catch up to it. Once the sleep lands onto you, just drowsy for the next 1.5 seconds. She lands her max range Q, you're just dead.
So far, it's going to be a huge lockdown. So, interesting. Red Light showing the Nautilus. This will be a Nautilus support.
Yeah, with those lock-ins from Red Light, they are going to opt to leave the counter pick for their mid laner. They're going to give Margaret a better matchup into Endless Ace's Z. But right now, Renekton can be one of those picks that can deal with the Gnar. But if he falls behind versus this matchup, it's going to have... Kyler's going to have a really hard time in the top lane.
I think this is a huge gamble for Kyler, especially Espionage. What's at stake here? It's your chance to go on to Bangkok to represent the Philippines in the grand finals of the Lenovo Legion of Champions. So for him to pick the Renekton and Antonar is somehow a gamble.
Yeah, but it is only the first game, Vulcan. If they do mess up or fumble during this first game, they can have 2 more games to possibly come back once they've read the strategy that Red Light will be tossing towards them. But looking at the final drafts here for both teams, it's going to be very hard for Renekton to go for something top lane because their jungler is very farm heavy. Shyvana, she doesn't provide that much CC lockdown for these early ganks. And Gnar is a very slippery champion. He can just kite you for days. Let's see how does Espionage deal with this mismatch in the top lane.
And let's see how everything unfolds once we load up to the Rift. This is going to be the first game of the best of 3 series. Espionage versus Red Light. My thoughts on this Zoe and Syndra matchup is going to be more on who pulls the trigger first.
Yeah, I definitely think that Syndra I think Syndra is one of those champions that can deal with the Zoe in the mid lane because one of the ways to counter Zoe is to have more all-in potential than her. If you're able to dodge out her drowsy as Syndra, you're gonna have so much kill pressure onto the Zoe. And what most people don't realize is that Zoe doesn't have any real escapes built into her kit unless she has flash or unless she picked up a flash. She doesn't have any real tools to disengage once you start fighting.
But you gotta take note of those small spell pickups that Zoe can use towards her advantage. So it's a matter of luck, I would say, for Espionage in the mid lane. And for Red Light, for Margaret on a Syndra, that's going to be a very tough situation because if ever Margaret does not make it or even performs well in the mid lane, that's going to be trouble for Red Light. More on, he can burst on champions properly. I would say the Shyvana, the Renekton, the Braum are all out to question. And the Zed is somehow, the Zoe rather, would be more of a favorable pickup. But we all know Zoe, very, I would say, annoying lockdown where you cannot have your escape and you're forced to pick up, I would say, a cleanse.
I do believe, yeah, you will need that extra layer of protection versus a Zoe in the mid lane. But Syndra, like I said, one of those champions that has enough damage to 1v1 the Zoe. As long as she survives until that level 6 point, I think Syndra will have a very easy time in this matchup.
So Summoners, we are loaded up and ready to go on to Game 1. Once again, this is Legion of Champions brought to you by Lenovo and powered by Intel. We are your shoutcasters. My name is Vulcan. And with me is Chisto. We will be witnessing Game 1 in just a bit. This is the best of 3 series. Let's see how Espionage and Red Light will perform.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how these teams play during the first game, because given that we aren't that familiar with what Red Light has been, because they didn't compete during the promotion and relegation stage, whereas Espionage, we did see them recently during PR. We know what Espionage can do. Red Light, will they surprise us?
And let's see how Red Light would actually face up against one of the teams who are so close making it to the pro scene in the country's Premier League, the Pro Gaming Series, one of the top 8 teams, the best 8 teams in the whole country. And so far, for Espionage to fall a bit short, they would want to secure this finals and prove themselves that we are still considered one of the best teams.
Yeah, but with that being said, Red Light, during the online part of this tournament, they did beat 2 of the teams that made it into the Pro Gaming Series. So early signs right there. Maybe they are up to the challenge of beating these promotion and relegation teams.
And I don't think that, I think that some of the PR teams, despite not just Red Light, we also see a lot of LCL team members participating in the Pro Gaming Series. We are not strangers to that, but for Red Light to really showcase their talent in the grind, moving up to the finals right now, this day, is something that they want to try and prove, I would say, Espionage, because when you beat a team that was PR, I think that's a huge confidence boost.
Yeah, if Red Light does come out on top today, and if they give Espionage such a challenge, it will put them on the map. People will know that Red Light exists as a team. They will know they're very good in League of Legends. So I wonder how they perform today.
And maybe they'll be the representative of the Philippines going to Bangkok for the grand finals of the Lenovo Legion of Champions. So far, let's see how this matchup is going to play out once we load up to the Rift.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited to see how this jungle Shyvana works, because as far as competitive League of Legends goes, we haven't seen that much Shyvana until now during the recent Runes Reforged. But like I said, during Pick and Ban, press the attack, very effective on Shyvana. And if she's able to get gold, if she's able to get items, she's going to be very painful to deal with.
And once you load up, farm up to that level, don't you think the enemy would try and suppress you? Because when you're talking about a Zoe, pre-level 6, she has very low mobility. She does got a bit of a nerf when it comes to the preseason. Less than the range got reduced just a bit. The duration has been increased rather in return for the range for being decreased. So Zoe right now, do you think is a bit imbalanced, or would you say that it's still hard to play against the Zoe?
I think it's easy to play against the Zoe if you know exactly what you have to do versus, because if Zoe doesn't land her E onto you, it removes a lot of the possibilities of her to actually go on for a kill too, because her Q is very difficult to land. If she doesn't CC you, I think Zoe will have a very hard time actually going for these assassinations with her insane burst damage.
When it comes to Zoe with the burst damage, I think that's something that Syndra can rival up against, but I think we're already here, Chisto. Let's witness Game 1, best of 3 series of the Lenovo Legion of Champions. Let's go on to the Rift.
Hi, ako nga pala si Anjo, Endless Ace Alzate. Naglalaro ko from Team Espionage. Nalaman ko yung Lenovo Legion of Champions through Facebook kasi naghahanap kami ng tournament na pwede kami mag-practice papuntang PGS. Sakto rin, isa din siyang tournament na makapag-compete kami internationally. Maraming salamat sa Lenovo sa pag-organize ng Legion of Champions tournament. Lalo na online siya. Magandang opportunity to sa mag-a-aspire sa players na kahit saan man sa Pilipinas. Yung mga experience ko kasi sa tournament, mostly kasi from NCR sila. At from Metro Manila yung mga nag-champion. So excited talaga ako na makalaban ko yung mga fresh talents sa Visayas sa tournament na Legion of Champions.
You heard from Endless Ace, his words, I think, opportunity that he was placed upon to him in this Legion of Champions. But right now, Game 1 is on its way, and already Red Light invading the red side jungle of Espionage.
Yeah, but they were spotted though, Vulcan. I wonder how will Espionage respond. They know that Red Light is here. Their level 1 is very strong. That Dredge line has a lot of range, but I don't think they will catch out anyone due to that initial ward placed in Espionage's Tribush. Will spot out the invade.
So far for Sunzi to place that crucial ward is something that they avoid a huge casualty, a really bad start when it comes to the game 1 of the best of 3. So let's see. Espionage, they will not commit to an invade, same as for Red Light. We might be seeing a standard jungle route here, but I want to see something that Red Light can show us. I want to see this Xing Zhao go all the way to the bot lane, just heavily suppress the mid lane also, because this Zoe has to be controlled.
Yeah, as far as engage options or ways to be proactive during the early phase of this game, I definitely have to give the edge to Red Light because they have more options pre-level 6 to go for these fights, whereas Espionage, they will rely a lot on their ultimates if they want to go for these skirmishes versus Red Light. So Red Light, let's see, will they be able to pull the trigger and snowball off of this early game?
And when you're talking about timing, it's all about timing for this Gnar. If you don't match the yellow bar on this Gnar, you're just gonna have a bad time. You're not gonna have your ultimate ready. So for Red Light, they have to time everything correctly, especially the depth charge. But for Espionage, I think they have a lot more allowances here. There's a lot more leeway to extend the fight because we're talking about a Shyvana who would build up Fury and immediately go into Dragon form.
Yeah, but we are still a long way. Oh, the slope.
And the sleep will connect, but I don't think any follow-up will happen here in the mid lane. First blood has yet to be secured, and already, look at that Espionage. Applying some pressure in the bot lane. Look at the trade-offs here, not in their favor.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Red Light, they definitely have more tools to be proactive in the early game because Espionage, they will rely on their level 6. They need their ultimates if they want to go proactive. They're going to need the Ash Arrow, the Shyvana ultimate, the Glacial Fissure. They need these tools if they want to go for something that resembles a fight. So Red Light, now is the time where they need to take charge, go for these fights, go for these ganks, really try and snowball before Espionage can set anything up.
And when it's 3 minutes into the game, you're going to expect some proactiveness from the junglers, especially this Shyvana, but I would expect this Xing Zhao to at least visit the mid lane because I think things are heating up in the mid lane. We're talking about a Zoe and a Syndra matchup because both rely on first lockdowns.
Yeah, definitely. I have to agree with you right there because this matchup in the mid lane can swing in anyone's favor. If Syndra gets the slightest lead ahead, once she hits that level 6, you're just gonna die instantly to her because her Unleashed power deals so much burst even though she hasn't built up that many AP items. But for Zoe as well, if she gets a slight edge onto Syndra, the Syndra's gonna have a very hard time.
And when you're talking about level 6 and looking at the CS in the mid lane, it's not that far behind, so both parties have to be ready. But for Endless Ace on this Zoe, I don't think he has much of a threat when it comes to level 6. And just look at the range of the stun that this Syndra brings into the mid lane matchup because this Zoe needs the range and this Syndra just removes that comfort.
Yeah, but once Endless Ace does hit level 6, he'll have that extra tool for mobility. He'll be able to gap close versus the Syndra and possibly go for more trades, go for more skirmish. But right now, he's just forced to farm under tower because Zoe still doesn't have that kill pressure.
Level 5 for the mid laners here, but for the junglers that's yet to visit any lanes. First blood, not yet secured because once we see a really good gank from the jungle. Right now,
here we go.
Suppressed here. That's going to be a flash bird by Sunzi. Flash in from the Xing Zhao. Flash in from the Nautilus, but no follow-up. That would be two summoners burnt for Red Light.
Yeah, great flash there by Sunzi, avoiding the dredge line. Will save his life. Did not give up first blood, and with the gank bot lane, it does give the Shyvana free reign over the topside jungle.
And when you're talking about a Xing Zhao who used the flash already, that relieves so much pressure from all the lanes, especially the top and mid, because Xing Zhao relies on this audacious charge, his E, where he needs to gap close. But when you're talking about without a flash, that's very short.
Yeah, but with that being said, Braum as well, he doesn't have flash. That's basically painting a target on your back, calling the enemy jungler like, come gank me, bro.
So we might see another Reeves visit again to the bot lane perhaps, because we know that Sunzi doesn't have his flash, but for his ADC he has full summoners ready, so I don't think full commitment will happen just yet.
Yeah, actually very interesting here. The bot lane of Espionage, they opted to run barrier and heal in a meta where Ardent Center isn't prevalent. Whoa, good boy!
Good boy, charging up his rage bar, gets the Meganar, will fire to the wall, but no! Kills will be secured. Looks like this Renekton still has his flash ready, may go for the flash and W and a kill, but That's gonna be him under the turret, safe and sound.
Oh, good boy. You don't want to stick around too long. Renekton has flash.
And he does not have this rage bar ready just yet, so I think for Espionage things are looking pretty calm, but for Red Light, they're the ones trying to go for the ganks, but it's not working out because Espionage is just so careful.
And like I said during pick and ban, Renekton, one of those picks that can deal with the Gnar in the top lane because Renekton is also a lane bully. And it's just a matter of how both these teams decide to play around this top lane because once the matchup tilts in anyone's favor, it'll just snowball the lane for the top laners. But as far as team fighting goes, Gnar will be very, very more effective compared to the Renekton.
I'm still not seeing MKid doing any work here because obviously it's a Shyvana. You can't expect a Shyvana to gank properly, but leave the laners to do the works here. But Sunzi will be surviving for now, a bit low on health. Level 6 not yet for Clyde and for his support, but we do see that Snot and Sunzi, they're kinda a bit behind in EXP, especially in CS. Look at the CS lead, 10 CS so far for Clyde.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this bot lane just absolutely erupt. Whoa, Endless Ace!
The range was a bit too short here. He did manage to land the Drowse and the sleep, but still no success. No kill so far.
Yeah, that was very scary for Margaret right there. If that Q had landed, Endless Ace could have followed up for even more damage and possibly taken down the mid laner for Red Light.
And when you're talking about the mid lane with full summoners still ready, and you just saw this Xingqiang making some aggressive moves in the jungle. Invading the space here, Margaret will not get a bit drowsy here, just so close to landing a skill shot.
Yeah, now that Endless Ace has his ultimate available, it allows him to go for these aggressive trades versus the Syndra. He's just not afraid to hop in front of her face and go for these trades where he's just constantly chunking out the Syndra, forcing her back towards her tower. Margaret is having a very hard time fighting in the mid lane.
And so far for, I would say, the bot lane, things are hitting up. Medkit's right here, curtain call in, here comes Leona. He has no flash ready here, but the curtain call will be blocked by Sunzi's Unbreakable.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Red Light went for a gank bot lane. They knew that Sunzi did not have his flash coming from that earlier gank. But right now, whoa.
Look at Kyler doing so much damage to this Gnar, but in return, Good Boy is getting this trade-off rather successfully because you're talking about a melee and a range matchup here. But right now, we're seeing Red Light going for the tankiest Drake of the game, the Mountain Drake. MKIF just spotted a ward right there, but it's going to be too late.
Yeah, too many members there coming from Red Light. I don't think the Shyvana would be interested to hopping into that. I don't think it would have been worth it. And really, that stems from the aggression of Red Light's bot lane. They're trying to go for these aggressive moves before Espionage can pull the trigger. But Endless Ace, he's roamed up top lane.
Good Boy is in his Mega Gnar form. We're going to be seeing a gank here. Endless Ace a bit too close. Let's see. If he lands the Drowsy here, that would be a sure kill. But that's so much of a risk when you're talking about a Mega Gnar. Has the ultimate ready. And this Renekton does not having a flash for any escape.
Yeah, the sleep right there missing will opt to disengage. Oh, Ashe.
But the knowledge is closing in. There is ultimate connecting fully in with a Dredge Knight combo. That would be the first blood going to Clyde. Red Light takes it away.
And that is what Red Light has to do in order to win this game. They need to pull the trigger before Espionage can set anything up. We know Espionage, they rely on their ultimates. But if Red Light, if they pull the trigger earlier and Espionage doesn't get anything off, it'll just allow them to snowball a lead.
Oh, look at that. Oh, Red in top lane. Good Boy is very low, and Kyler gets the kill. Color to make Empower. A lot of damage there. But right now we're seeing MKid, the red side of Red Light, spotted out by the Ashe here. Looks like there'll be an invade.
Yeah, he's going for more. He will steal the card, but looking back, great solo kill by the Renekton onto the Gnar. And really great show of mechanics right there, able to close the gap. We know Gnar just kites melee top laners forever. But Renekton, he does have that slice and dice. If you don't position yourself properly through the minion waves, the Renekton can just get close to you and burst you down 100 to 0 very quickly.
And this is going to be the first turret going towards Espionage. And with that said, first blood went to Red Light. But the first turret, more, I would say, higher priority objective that you want to get in this game goes to Espionage because you get a bonus gold, you share it with your teammates, and you get a global gold of 100. That is just going to deny the first blood start that Red Light got.
Yeah, and that is really huge for Espionage because they gave up first blood, but right now first tower going over to the Renekton. In this matchup, we know there's gonna come a point in the game where the Gnar will be just the more effective team fighter compared to the Renekton. But if Renekton is able to snowball, it delays that point in the game. He will be more effective during the mid-game phase, and that's really what Espionage needs right now.
And with that said, I think they are going to further delay this Gnar, picking up the Rift Herald, but note that Red Light. They took away the first Drake, the Mountain Drake, but the next Drake again would be another Mountain Drake. Espionage can't give this away.
Dredge Line!
Look at the Dredge Line and plus the Death Charge combo. Look at the lockdown coming from Red Line, but Espionage is backing away. Here comes Good Boy, slams into the wall. A two-man stun, but a teleport will be coming in. Kyler instead switches it up, cancels the teleport, instead may just push his lane. But right now, Red Light, 4 members responded just like that.
Yeah, there's so much CC coming from all of the members of Red Light, and Ash being one of the most immobile AD carries in the game. There's really no escape there if you don't have that flash, and we see Red Light, they're playing around the lane that Espionage needs to work in order to win this game. They can't set anything up with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow from the Ash. Red Light, they're really shutting down that win condition of Espionage.
Well, that said, I mean, it's very risky for Espionage's bot lane when you pick up an Ash and you really die twice. I think that's going to be Red Light cashing in the weakness in the bot lane. But right now, we're seeing Espionage, 4 members in the mid lane. Note that Mkin has the Rift Herald.
Yeah, they're gonna try to brute force this tower. The wave clear still isn't there for Red Light. Syndra is still in base. I wonder, can they defend this mid tower?
Oh, here comes the Nautilus making some room in the mid lane, but that was the current call for the disengage. Sunzi is there for the counter. Looks like the Nautilus will not fully go all in. He does not have his ultimate, but did have his flash, but not yet. Not just the right time.
Yeah, unfortunately for Red Light right there, the Dredge Line did land to a minion. They were able to force Espionage back a bit with the curtain call, but the Rift Herald being summoned.
Oh, could just be a distraction though that Espionage might set up. Know that there's ultimates ready here, but look at that Unbreakable denying so much damage. Force the flash away. The Crystal Arrow will not connect to anyone, but Margaret used his ult, so no ultimate available for the Syndra.
Yeah, everybody's in the mid lane right now. Both teams really fighting for position right now, and just as they take the tower now, Red Light, they're trying to respond. What will that lead to anything? Nope.
That was a close call for Good Boy. Good thing that he was able to leap just before he went to sleep.
Yeah, of course, once that ability lands onto you, you do have those few seconds of where do I go? Can my team protect me in order to possibly get to a safer position? Right there, he's able to hop out. Very well played.
Yes, and with that said, Espionage, they were able to fend off the counter push coming from Red Light, but the third score still lies onto their favor. But this is important because we're talking about the Mountain Drake. I mean, it's going to spawn next, and it's going to be really, really bad news if Espionage does not take away the Mountain Drake, because this Drake is going to grant you so much pressure through damage towards objectives, turrets, epic monsters. That's something that Espionage wants where they lack damage.
Yeah, but right now, Vulcan, as we transition into the mid-game point, things still look fairly even for both teams. The gold isn't that far apart. Right now, I think it's just a matter of who pulls the trigger first, and they're pulling it now.
Oh, look at Good Boy slamming 2 members of Espionage to a wall for a 2-man stun. Glacier Fidget for the knockup. That is going to be a trade of an ultimates, but the Mountain Drake is at stake here. Espionage cannot respond. They are a bit low here, but will try and contest. They know it's happening. Let's see. That's going to be a smite secure from Red Light.
Yeah, great secure there by the jungler of Red Light, and now that's a second Mountain Drake to their side. Once the Baron spawns, or once they get to hit these towers, they will fall down very fast, and Red Light just playing the objective game very well. Oh, Kyler!
Look at Kyler, big trouble here. He does not have a...
Whoa!
Look at the damage though with the TM and Hider. He takes down Liana. Was that a surprise there? Sunzi blocks the boomerang. He's getting a bit angry here. He goes into Mega Narc farm. Looks like Liana did not expect Kyler to deal so much damage.
What an outplay right there by Kyler, and man, Shin Zhao, no real arrow. There's more fighting.
Two-man knocker from the depth charge. Look at members of Red Light. Very low in health. Gets asleep here. There will be no kill secure just yet. That's going to be a short in range. Margaret is here. He has his ultimate ready. Going for a good point. The stun does not connect. Only onto one member. Onto Endless Ace. That's going to be the current call by Clyde. Trying to make some room in the bot lane.
Yeah, both teams here, they're still jockeying for position here. Really trying to push the other back.
Ooh, look at that. But the cleanse. The cleanse was right there to cleanse away from the burn damage. Margaret will not die just yet.
Just in the nick of time, the cleanse right there, very clutch for Margaret. But even though he lived, that does mean Espionage will force Red Light back, and they're going to be able to take down the third tower of the game.
And 16 minutes, 17 minutes into the game, that's a huge lead right now for Espionage. The gold lead is steadily increasing towards their favor. We're seeing a 2,000 gold lead for Espionage. Red Light, they managed to take down the two Mountain Drakes. They have to use it. If ever they get an ace or a Baron contest, that's going to be Red Light at an advantage compared to Espionage.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Espionage right now, they are ahead. But for Red Light, this is a manageable lead. They can still turn this around in their favor. If Red Light are able to pick a fight on their terms, if they can land the dredge line onto a key target, if one of the members of Espionage is caught out of position, that might be Red Light's window into breaking the game wide open once again.
And we're talking about Kyler on a timer with this Renekton. His damage, his effectiveness may just go down the drain. You just pick up a Ninja Tabi, you already deny so much damage from this Renekton's W, the Ruthless Predator. So it's a matter of time for Espionage. This is why they're playing it so fast. They know that they're on a limit here, and they're trying to close the game as soon as they can. But right now, with an arrow, will be connected onto the Jin. The two-man knockup will not happen. Margaret is very low. Here comes Liana going all in. He got the Ash. They got what they want. The juicy target. Red Light is going to commit. No more ADC for Espionage. And right now, they're all scrambled around the map. Espionage ADC gets the double kill, but MK goes in for a trade-off. And Endless Ace trying to get that to good point. The stun connects, and that's going to be a flash burn. And that's going to be a trade-off for Endless Ace, taking down Good Boy.
Yeah, will Endless Ace be able to escape though? I don't think he will.
The outplay does not happen here. He tries to get away, but the ace goes to Red Light.
That is an ace for Red Light 18 minutes into the game, and without two Mountain Drakes, they will be able to take down towers fairly quickly. I wonder what more can they take from Espionage.
This is what I was waiting for Red Light to get an ace and then push away the incoming waves, get the turret. This gives them a confidence. They know that they can take them on. You know that at the start, you see Red Light a bit too cautious. They know that, well, Kyler caught us by surprise, but now we can handle him. We know that we have the time in our hands. We have the goal advantage right now. And I think for Good Boy, picking up the Tabi denies so much damage.
Okay, let's break down the fight right here. Even though the Ash ult landed on the Jin, there's no real follow-up to really kill the priority target. And Red Light, they're just able to turn this around very quickly because, like we mentioned, Nar, even though he was smashed in lane, he's gonna team fight way better compared to the Renekton, and they were able to lock down Kyler for so long. He really wasn't able to contribute that much into this fight.
You're talking about at the start, Red Light was able to take down the ADC of Espionage, and that left them so scrambled, and Kyler didn't know where to go in that team fight.
Yeah. On Renekton, you don't have that much option as far as hard CC, and if you aren't able to get a good flank off and teams are able to focus you, you aren't building that tanky enough to survive all the damage coming from 5 members just focusing all their attention to you. And now Kyler, you are in trouble.
Looks like this arrow will be connecting onto Liana. Memkit did take him down, saving Kyler's life. So that's going to be 1 kill in the bot lane. But for Espionage, they're facing 3 members onslaught in the top lane. There's going to be the dive. That's going to be the lockdown. Good Boy gets the kill.
Yeah, like I said, Zoe, no built-in escapes. Even if you ultimate, you will go back to where you came from. And there's really no escaping Nautilus's ultimate right there.
So we can see that Red Light, they're doing the most standard thing you would see in any pro CFO games. Push away the top lane, prepare for the Baron. They have 2 Mountain Drakes up, and I think With that said, I think Red Light is coming back to this game rather strong. And this is a team that did not play the PR, and they are taking pride that they were able to take down 2 teams who did make it to the BGS.
Yeah, I really like the macro play coming from Red Light right now. The score in turrets has been evened out, and the kill lead on their side as well. They have generated this 2k gold lead, but will it balloon even more for Espionage? They need to act now. They're playing on a timer. They do not scale that well into the late game as far as 5v5 team fights go. So I wonder, Espionage, when will they begin pulling the trigger?
When you're talking about the gold league stuff, the only thing that can just boost that 2k towards, let's say, 4k would be the Baron. I mean, 1,500 total gold you get from the team. I mean, 300 each. That's gonna be good bonus. That's gonna fix a lot of problems you had in the early game. And now we're talking about Red Light. They have 2 Mountain Drakes. That's going to be more damage towards this Baron. So they have more security, more damage. They can secure this Baron and start it and probably end it without any worry of getting it too slow.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you right there. Baron could be the turning point in this match, but even with the 2 Mountain Drakes for Red Light, I think it's still too early into the game to take that Baron, because Jin isn't one of those 80 carries that can secure Baron very quickly. He's one of those 80 carries where if you do go for a Baron play, isn't as fast compared to something like a Vayne or a Pogba or something. Yeah.
Or a Varus. So far, we know that Jin is not a very heavy attack-based champion. I don't think he's an attack-based champion at all. He kind of behaves like a Graves champion in a way. But with that said,
They both reload.
Red Light takes away the Cloud Drake. The next Drake will be the Infernal. Look at that, Infernal Drake, Chisto. That's gonna be... What's that gonna be? I think that's gonna be more pressure for Espionage.
That's my favorite Drake in the game, both. It just gives you so much more damage. You just feel good about yourself after you secure that Infernal Drake.
I mean, we're talking about the Infernal Drake. I mean, when they get 2 Mountain Drakes, because this Infernal Drake is gonna be taken out rather quickly. And what happens when you have 2 Mountain Drakes and you're going for the squishiest Drake of the game here? Look at Espionage.
Oh, they're setting up towards a Baron. This is very risky for them.
Oh, look at Endless Ace taking a lot of damage, already below half health. That Baron is just doing so much damage.
Yeah, they were posturing up for vision, and that's very smart right there. Grouping as 5, trying to avoid any picks from happening.
Oh, look
if
at
it
that.
does,
Arrow.
if a fight does happen,
they are expecting an arrow here. Look at the scout. Goes in. Getting some vision there. I wonder, can they make it happen here?
yeah, Espionage, you have to be very, very careful if they approach this Baron area. I keep mentioning Red Light. They have the team fight advantage. You're having that Gnar.
Oh, this Baron can change everything here. Teleport both available for Kyler and Good Boy.
Oh, here comes...
Depth charge incoming. Sunzi burns his flash, but still gets caught with the drench line. Amkid goes in hard. Valiana goes in harder, but gets the heat from Amkid. That's going to be... Oh my god! Look at Kyler going in, wrecking the whole
but he's alive!
But you're talking about this Clyde, this Good Boy, and that's going to be double kill. You're still...
This is an ace!
There's going to be more damage. That's an ace for Red Light. This is big trouble because at that fight, Clyde was not even touched.
Yeah, even though Kyler got that amazing flank down in the backline of Red Light, he wasn't able to take down the key target in that Jin. And with that being said, the second ace for Red Light will net them the Baron here.
So look at that, 4,000 gold league closing in just shortly. And will that be a safe Baron? Yes, I think that's not going to be contestable for Espionage. And with that said, Red Light takes away the first Baron of the game.
Yeah, Red Light, they just broke this game wide open, Vulcan. I mean, things were looking fairly even, but one team fight just turned it around with that Baron secure and 2 Mountain Drakes as well. They can practically siege anything they want on this map.
Well, I really want to commend Kyler. I mean, that was such a great flank with the Renekton, but he did not have any defensive items. I mean, no sustainable damage there. Huge burst. And when you're not picking up, let's say, the Omen or any armor, I don't see any armor on Kyler. And you're talking about Clyde, who just got another double kill in that clash. Always the one left untouched. That's going to be bad news for Espionage if they don't control this Jin.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the risks you have to take on the Renekton. He was snowballing early game, and as a player, you want to build more damage because you are ahead. You want to push your lead even further, and buying tank items really doesn't help you push your lead further. But unfortunately for Kyler, the rest of his team weren't able to set up the way he did, and that means Red Light just take anything from this map. I mean, Espionage, they're gonna slowly bleed out here unless they can catch a miracle team fight.
Or go for an engaging Glacial Fissure, misses Clyde. He still gets the critical, but instead repositions himself. And look at that, stun connects onto. Ooh. Kyler gets killed by Clyde. The death threat goes on to
oh my god.
the ADC. Look at the damage burst coming in from Margaret. With that said, Liana goes in deep. That's going to be a tower dive successfully dove by Redline. And with 4 members down for the count, looks like Redline is so close to ending this game.
Yeah, I like all of a sudden, Vulcan, 20-second death timers on the side of Espionage. A massive minion wave pushing in. Whoa, that was tricky.
That was a close call for Endless Ace here. The death shot will connect.
I think this might be it.
Time. With that said, looks like Espionage will be outclassed here in Game 1. But don't worry for Espionage, this is still the best of 3 series of the Lenovo Legion of Champions. But with that said, Red Light concludes Game 1.
Yeah, very well played game there from Red Light. They were first to pull the trigger across that game, and that was really one of the key factors that led to their win. And Red Light showing up on the map.
Actually, that was actually a very fun game because you're talking about Red Light had a really bad start, but when you talk about Espionage, they did come back in a way that they got the first turret. And I thought that Espionage was really behind, but it turns out those 2 Mountain Drakes, the Cloud Drake, the Inferno wasn't taken there, but what mattered most was the Marathon.
Yeah, that was really Red Light just playing to their team comp strengths right there. They knew the Gnar would be more relevant in 5v5 team fights, and that's what they did. They grouped up, looked for these big on 5v5 clashes, and Renekton, he wasn't able to shine because he wasn't able to get those massive flanks that he really needs in order to be effective and relevant during these team fights. So Red Light, they're one step closer to going international.
And one step closer going to Bangkok this January for the Lenovo Legion of Champions Grand Finals. But we'll be having a short break here. Once again, we have been your shoutcasters. My name is Vulcan, and with me is Chista. You just watched the Lenovo Legion of Champions, brought to you by Lenovo, powered by Intel. See you after the short break for Game 2. Dredge Line, look at the Dredge Line and plus the Death Search combo. Look at the lockdown coming from Red Line, but Espionage is backing away. Here comes Good Boy, slams into the wall. A 2-man stun, but a teleport will be coming in. Kyler instead switches it up, cancels can, but right now with an arrow will be landed onto the chin. The 2-man knock-up will not happen. Margaret is very low. Here comes Liana going all in. He got the Ash. They got what they want. The juicy target. Red Light is going to commit. No more ADC for Espionage. And right now they're all scrambled around the map. Espionage ADC. Oh, here comes the depth charge incoming. Sunzi burns his flash, but still gets caught with the Dredge Line. That kid goes in hard. But Liana goes in harder, but gets the heat from M-Kid. That's going to be, oh my god, look at Kyler going in, wrecking the whole lane. But he's alive. But you're talking about this Clyde, this Good Boy, and that's going to be double kill. You're still,
this is an ace.
This is going to be more damage. That's the ace for Red Light. This will Fissure misses Clyde. He still gets the critical, but instead repositions himself. And look at that, stun connects onto. Ooh. Kyler gets killed by Clyde. The death threat goes on to
oh my god.
The ADC. Look at the damage burst coming in from Margaret. With that said, Liana goes in deep. That's going to be a tower dive successfully dove by Redline. And with 4 members down for the count, looks like Redline is so close to ending this game.
Yeah, I like
that. Looks like Espionage will be outclassed here in Game 1. But don't worry for Espionage, this is still the best of 3 series of the Lenovo Legion of Champions. But with that said, Red Light concludes Game 1.
Yeah, very well played game there from Red Light. They were first to pull the trigger across that game. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to Lenovo Legion of Champions, brought to you by both Lenovo and Intel. Of course, we're going to be heading into Game 2, but before we do so, we're going to be introducing ourselves as the casters for today. I'm Mark, the Cathy Service Fam, and with me is Chisto. And what a game that we had earlier. I mean, I think one of the exciting things for me was that we finally get to see Zoe in competitive in a broadcasting game on a local level, but didn't quite work out for Espionage there, though.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. That game was very, very exciting and kind of shifted towards the one-sided during the later parts of the game. Once Red Light began pulling the trigger earlier, they were able to set up for these kills, get these aces, really clutch wins in team fights, which just transitioned into objectives. And what I could say is just textbook League of Legends.
Indeed, and at the end of the day, of course, ladies and gents, this is a best of 3, so we are technically at match point right now, wherein if Red Light goes one more game, then we have our reps right there. But then, of course, in Espionage's case, that's something that they don't want to give up, especially considering what is at stake here. But of course, we'll be heading into the pick and ban phase once again. This is Red Light versus Espionage in the finals for the Lenovo Legion of Champions.
Yeah, we are going to switch sides now, so that's a bit of strategy shifted from both teams. I wonder, what will both teams adjust to? How will they adapt to this next game? Will Espionage put a red light on Red Light's advantage?
Ah, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, let's go ahead and check out the bans, though. So, for the bans coming in from Red Light, we do have Singe as well as the Ornn. Meanwhile, for Espionage, going to be taking away that Jin from Response.
Yeah, I have no surprise that Red Light are banning these champions. If they go the same route as the previous game, I do believe Jace was the third ban coming from them. I wouldn't be surprised to see that come out, but for Espionage, already banning out the bot lane of Red Light. This is the exact bot lane duo we saw last game, not wanting to deal with that. Oh, it is a Shen actually.
Wow, there you go. So interesting, a lot of focus onto Kyler here from Espionage. Let's go ahead and check out what that last ban will come from. Espionage, though, I mean, okay, so the Leona going to be taken away from Clyde right there. Let's go ahead and check out what picks will be thrown out. Red Light on the blue side going to be having much more priority as far as what they want to go for in this first pick. Looks like we do see a hover over that chase, not just a hover over, but that will be a lock.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Red Light opts to toss just 3 bans all the way to Kyler, because during that previous game, we saw Kyler absolutely smash lane. Unfortunately, the Renekton pick just didn't transition that well into team fights compared to the Gnar. With that being said, Red Light will put all their priority onto this Jace. We normally see him in the top lane, but he can be flexed. I mean, we've seen Jace in many funky places before. We can see him jungle, possibly AD carry, but more commonly in the solo lane.
True. Meanwhile, coming in from the side of Espionage, interesting enough, looks like they're going to be taking the Varus as well as the Jarvan the Fourth. I would say that normally, based on what we have seen, Jarvan the Fourth could possibly go jungle as well as the Varus, but okay, so it looks like the Syndrome going to be hovered over. But I mean, in Espionage's case, they do like to flex these champions in very interesting lanes, so I wouldn't discount that Jarvan could potentially go top just yet.
Yeah, and looking at what Red Light has locked in, very cool lock-ins. They've locked in 2 dragons. I like dragons very much. But with that being said, Shyvana in the jungle, like the previous game, I did mention she does benefit off of press the attack very well if she's able to stay long enough in these team fights. Once she gets these items, this durability, if she's able to stick to your AD carries during fights, she's just really a pain to deal with. And Aurelion Sol, a pick we see it's a pocket pick really from most mid laners. We all know Aurelion Sol has very potent roams. He can move around the map fairly quickly, deals a lot of damage, and yeah, Aurelion Sol.
Really excited for that. I mean, we don't really see that much Aurelion Sol, even here locally. I mean, like you mentioned, it's definitely a pocket pick, and
very few people actually play him. I do recall from NALCS, CLG's Huhi, he's the only player I do believe plays Aurelion Sol frequently, and looks like Margaret will try to do his best cosplay.
Yeah, we'll just have to see, man. Meanwhile, coming in for the bans here within our second rotation, looks like the Kalista as well as the Alistar going to be banned out here from Wisconsin. Clyde here, so wow, Renekton and Maokai, so 5 top lane bans from Red Light, particularly dedicated to Kyler here. So, man, they really don't want to give him any pick that will allow him to just pop up.
Yeah, but mind games, what if the Jarvan goes to the top lane?
True.
That's 5 rather mispointed bans, I should say, if they do flex the Jarvan. With all these picks locked in from Espionage, they still have that option. They're going to wait what Red Light will round off their comp with. They do need that bot lane, they need an AD carry and support. As for Espionage, they need either a jungler or a top laner, depending on where they opt to put the Jarvan.
Let's go ahead and see, though. Meanwhile, looks like Thresh, again, locked in for Sunzi right there. Misfortune, as well as the Taric. There you go. Interesting red light. I mean, if you're going to look at the order as to how they picked, it's not even a scenario wherein they didn't prioritize.
All business.
Yeah, it's pretty much straightforward. Like, every single person locked in based on their role here. Unless we see some crazy switcheroos, which I highly doubt, though. So let's go ahead and check out, ooh, for Espionage, though, just as I was about to bring up. Camille, indeed.
Yeah, but even as Camille locked in, it can still be a flex pick, but I do believe Kyler will be locking that pick down. Camille, one of those picks that can deal with the Jace as far as 1v1 during the split push phase. We all know Jace can bully melee matchups, but Camille, she has enough survivability, enough gap close to lock down the Jace, and can one of those champions really just 1v1 Jace in the top lane.
So there you have it, folks. It's like both sides have locked in what they want. Of course, from wherever you're watching, let us know who you want to see win as our champion and potential representative for Bangkok as soon as we get to send them over. So, of course, it's going to be red light or espionage in which case.
Yeah, and red light, they're already 1 foot to the airport.
1 foot, yeah, true.
They're already headed there, but I wonder, can Espionage fight back? This is a best of 3, and a lot of things can happen in best of 3s. The pressure of closing out the series can get to some of the players. Let's hope that red light, they don't make that error and just closes out.
Definitely not. But then again, as you were able to discuss with Vulcan earlier, I mean, these two teams, they have some form of experience in a way. So for red light, more of LCL talents, League of Legends Collegiate League, another league that's powered by Lenovo. And for Espionage, has that PGS experience, at least some of the players, in the form of Endless Ace, Sunzi, as well as MKit, who used to play for Mineski. So,
And IPT, I believe.
IPT, yeah, actually, most recently IPT. So I think, but then again, as you can see earlier, that experience not necessarily translating to going straight into a win, regardless of having that upper hand as far as league, where in Espionage, more professional experience, whereas for Red Light, it's more of a semi-pro through the collegiate league.
Yeah, but still, like we mentioned earlier, it's still the same competition. It's still
Right.
League of Legends that is the proving grounds for both of these teams, really. And I wonder, will the more seasoned experience, I should say, since it's the pro scene compared to collegiate, will that be the edge that Espionage needs to push them forward? Because these more seasoned players, they can really be that guiding light for the younger ones and really help them progress, especially during these best of series where it can be very mentally and physically exhausting.
And it's an interesting point that you brought there, because I was actually looking back on what has transpired as of our local scene in the recent. And if you're going to look at most of the players that are up and coming, we have a lot of fresh talent. And there's been a lot of these more veteran players who have started to go into retirement. So I think from that point, we could kind of say that we are reaching a point wherein we're seeing more talent enter the scene. And I think that's what's happening right here. Red Light, with the roster that they have, there's a lot of fresh talent there. Wherein, sure, Espionage, there's definitely some good talent as well, a lot of experience, but then again, could potentially wear down in time. So I hope that's not a case, though, because this, especially for this finals, there's a lot at stake. I mean, that road to compete on the international stage, as Endless Ace mentioned in his interview, that's quite a thing. So we'll just have to see. Espionage, they definitely want to push this into a 1-1, hopefully, for them.
Yeah, I have to agree with you right there, Arctic. Competing on an international stage, especially in the semi-pro scene, that's a very rare opportunity for anyone, really, and any player to fly overseas, compete, play League of Legends. It's going to be such a fun experience for them. And I know all of these players competing right now, they're gunning for that win.
Oh, man. I mean, that opportunity right there. I think that's probably one of the biggest things you could check off your bucket list as far as wanting to be a competitive player.
Yeah, you've checked that off your bucket list.
Yep, check right there. But kind of short-lived in the sense that, sure, made it to international, but actually performing in international, well,
that's a different story.
Yeah, definitely a different story right there. But given our representatives here, I have high hope for them without a doubt. I mean, if I recall last year, our previous representatives, Rebirth,
RBT?
yeah,
Rebirth.
RBT, they actually did pretty well. I think they placed third. So
very well.
Yeah. definitely, I think that in itself just shows just how much of a chance Philippines has as far as making it on the international stage.
Yeah, and it also shows you how much the esports scene here has been improving throughout the years. I mean, for the record though, we have been constantly getting better, constantly improving, really trying to make Southeast Asia a region that can compete with the juggernauts that are Korea, China, and the gap is closing, I should say.
Definitely. And man, it's crazy to think that we're finally reaching that
closing.
stage.
I have faith.
You have faith. You have faith. And who knows? Hopefully, our teams right here, the talents that we see right now, could forge that path for us as they head to the international stage. Because that's what one of these teams will be achieving towards the end of that day. That's the end goal here for the Legion of Champions. But we'll just have to see. Still, they have this best of 3 to work against. And in Espionage's case, they want to make sure that they still keep themselves in the running wall for Red Light. Just that one more win, and who knows? That dream will become a reality for one of these teams.
Yeah, as for what they have to do once the game starts, I think for Espionage, they need to begin playing more proactively, try and pull the trigger before Red Light sets anything up against them. Because during that last game, we saw Red Light just be first to the punch. Their attacks were landing first compared to Espionage, where they were more of the reactive team. And in competitive League of Legends, what you really want to do is be the aggressor, be the proactive team, make these moves, generate your own leads. Don't wait for your opponents to make mistakes, and that's what Red Light did, and that's why they won the first game.
I think one great thing that we could talk about here while we wait to head on to the Rift is, like I mentioned earlier, that was the first time we actually get to see Zoe in a competitive game locally. How do you feel Endless Haze performed on that Zoe, based on what insight you've managed to get so far? Because there's not really much to build off on thus far, as far as seeing Zoe in competitive.
Yeah, I think he performed fairly well on Zoe, given that she is the newest champion in League. Some players might need more time to pick that up.
And from what I hear, because I haven't gotten the chance to play Zoe myself, but I heard that she's a pretty mechanically difficult champion to maneuver on.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see, though, later on once we head into the Rift.
Ay, ako nga pala si Adrian, Liana Branch siya, jungle ng Team Red Light. Nalaman namin yung tournament na Legion of Champions sa Facebook. Dahil gusto namin sumali sa mga tournament na ganito. Di naman namin na-expect na darating kami sa finals, pero nandito na kami. Ipatunayan na namin na may magaling pa sa Visayas. Yung team ko may experience naman sa mga local tournaments. Kaya ngayon may opportunities kami na makapaglaro sa ibang bansa. Magandang opportunities tong Legion of Champions kasi online qualifier siya at malaki yung chance ng team namin, Red Light, na makapaglaro sa Thailand. Sa mga taga Iloilo, Tony.
And there you have it, folks. Let's go ahead and see, as history is made right here, as to find out who will be the Philippine representatives to the Lenovo Legion of Champions. Is it going to be Red Light or Espionage? Let's head on to the Rift for Game 2.
Yeah, it'll be very exciting to watch this game. I mean, we have to take note how the junglers will decide to move around the map. And whoa, Red Light, another aggressive invade.
Indeed, we'll get spotted out by that ward, though. Great preemptive move by Espionage to make sure that they have defensive vision to avoid that pretty gutsy move by Red Light, but that will be thwarted for the meantime. They will be going back to their standard lanes, but in the midst of that, Espionage was able to establish offensive vision of their own towards the red buff of Red Light. So I like that responsiveness to seeing that there were 5 members leaning towards the top side for Red Light. Espionage immediately establishing their own vision right there.
Yeah, so now as the junglers begin their pathing, I think it's going to be very critical for MKit to perform during the early game on this Jarvan, really try and get his team ahead, because he's going to be the key factor if Espionage wants to mount a comeback.
Now looks like that will be the start take. No, both junglers are starting off towards the bottom side of the map, so that will make for an interesting transition towards mid or top, depending on what they go for as far as rotations. Interesting to note, for itemization, looks like Margaret going to be going for the Corrupting Potion on this Aurelian Soul in the midst of a Doran's Ring for Endless Ace.
Yeah, and the Corrupting Pot start on Aurelian Soul is a very common strategy. Where you do is just constantly shove your lane
try to chug that potion as much as possible. Then once you shove really, you go back, you pick up your Doranting, and you just get so much more of an advantage over your enemy laner because Aurelion Sol, he just moves so fast across the map. He's able to glide across Summoner's Rift.
Now that I think about it, I mean, we have both Espionage and Red Light. I mean, I was mentioning how Espionage, they kind of like, as far as from what I've seen in the past, they like to play these interesting picks where you normally think it wouldn't work, but somehow they make it work. But I think the same can be said for Red Light in the sense that, like they mentioned, these are guys from Iloilo. And if you're going to think about Iloilo, you're going to think about teams like Acclaim, Empire X. And even in the LCL, these players, they're known for using these crazy picks you normally wouldn't think would even be fielded, but because of how proficient they are at their champion, or because of how well they manage to go about their strategy and their win conditions, are able to make it work. So I think these are two very interesting teams that we have here that kind of play to that same dynamic. But overall, from what we've been seeing as far as what they've drafted, I'd kind of say that they're still pretty much more in tune with the meta. But we do see these interesting picks every now and then, like Zoe's Endless Ace earlier. Now we're seeing Margaret's Aurelion Sol.
Yeah, I have to agree with you right there, Arctic. Besides, they definitely have that own flavor as far as what they want to pick as their champions. But right now, yeah, you did mention we are seeing pretty standard picks from both teams. It's just a matter of how they decide to play around these picks.
Meanwhile, looks like topside for Good Boy really getting a push out here onto Tyler. It's like Sunzi taking quite a bit of damage though from Clyde. So we'll have to take a little bit of a chill pill right there, restrain himself just a bit.
Sunzi, he has to be very careful in this lane because he doesn't have the option to heal himself, whereas Tarek does. But oh, Margaret is rolling with the flash.
That's going to be the stun onto Sunzi right there. Here comes Margaret. That's going to be first blood going to Clyde in the blink of an eye. Sunzi goes down.
Yeah, what a great flash dazzler coming from the Tarek, able to lock down Sunzi, and the heal not enough to save him. Very well played from Red Light's bot lane, taking charge.
And that is how you play the Aurelion Sol as well right there. That's what I love about this champion. You have a lot of roaming potential through his E, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm expecting a lot more of that coming in from Margaret.
He is spotted.
Meanwhile, MKit gonna try to make a move here. Looks like we'll be backing away for the meantime.
Yeah, very hard for Jarvan to set up a gank in the bot lane with Sunzi being in base just after respawn. He needs that Thresh lockdown. He needs a death sentence if he wants to set up for the gank, because without Ward spotting him out, the bot lane for Red Light will just instantly back off. Very smart play.
Tyler gonna dive in right there onto Good Boy though, but knocks him away to prevent any further aggression. Looks like Margaret was gonna make his way though. Let's see if Makulit could try for something here towards topside. Looks like he is gonna go for the gank. Good Boy, take note, he doesn't have any mana for to flash away, and that will prompt Makulit to recall for the meantime, seeing that there's no opportunity for a further gank.
Yeah, a very, very early flash there from Good Boy, just not wanting to deal with any more aggression from Espionage. And with the flash being down, we all know what that means. It's just painting a target on your back, calling the enemy jungler to come gank my lane again. But with that being said,
wow,
Infernal Drake being started by Red Light. Very proactive move.
That's a very juicy objective. Meanwhile, looks like Tyler gonna go in onto Good Boy. Good Boy's taking quite a bit of damage there. He might be going down. Makulit manages to secure the kill.
Yeah, but at what cost, Arctic? That one kill onto the flash that's just very textbook gank, but it does give up the Infernal Drake over to the side of Red Light, and that is massive for their team comp. That's just gonna help them scale even better and just deal insane amount of damage during the next upcoming team fights.
Indeed, as Freak likes to say, tons of damage right there for Red Light. But overall, let's go ahead and see how that'll work out for them, because if you're going to look at Red Light's composition, there's generally everybody, with the exception of the Tarek, of course, who's a tank. But, I mean, Jace, Shyvana, Aurelion Sol, Misfortune, these are guys that dish out quite a bit of damage. So that Infernal Dragon, that's going to complement them greatly.
Yeah, and you did mention, even though Tarek is the only tank, that Cosmic Radiance will buy so much time for these carries to just dish out absurd amounts of damage given that invulnerability. And that's just a great team fight too. And whoa, great counter jungling coming from the Shyvana, but he is a bit caught out here.
Oh no, is he going to make it out alive though? That's going to be Hextech Ultimatum to lock him down. Here comes Makulit though. Looks like Liana going to manage to flash his way out in time. That was so scary.
What a great clutch. Great timing on the flash, just as the Hextech ultimatum timed out, instantly gets out of trouble, and by the skin of his teeth, Liana survives.
I was not expecting that. I was thinking that was going to be game over for Liana right there, but just at that right second, manages to flash his way out as soon as that Camille ult goes down. So, looks like we're going to still be seeing our kill board 1-1 equal still.
Yeah, the game is still fairly even at this stage, but looking at how the teams have decided to play, it looks like Espionage are trying to get Kyler ahead. During that previous game, we saw Kyler get ahead, but we know that Renekton doesn't work well in team fights. I wonder, how will Kyler perform on this Camille? The members of Red Light are fairly immobile. There are no dashes on Aurelion Sol and Misfortune. They're going to have to rely a lot on Tarek to protect them. And Kyler, he does have that Camille ultimate to lock down these immobile, squishy targets.
Look at Liana go. I mean, after almost defying death towards the jungle side of Espionage, goes straight back, manages to steal the red buff from Makulit, and man, oh man, really good showing here, I gotta say, Liana. And if you're gonna notice, I mean, it's not really much to look at CS differences between junglers, but in this case, yeah, that's huge. I mean, regardless of the fact that, sure, some camps may have more creeps than others, but I mean, since we're this early on into the game and to have that much of a difference, that's pretty significant right there.
Yeah, and I think that stems from the priorities between junglers. We saw Makulit, he's trying to get his team ahead, but when you gank as a jungler, that does mean that your camps are left wide open for the take. And Liana, he's been prioritizing counter jungling, trying to get as much gold as possible onto the Shyvana, and that's really what Shyvana needs if she wants to be relevant throughout the game, and he's just working towards that goal fairly quickly.
Anyway, let's go ahead and check out what's happening across these lanes, though. I think, now that I notice, almost everyone, with the exception of that Aurelion Sol, across the board for Red Light is up in CS. I mean, top lane just around equal, but 80-61 between Clyde and Hunts here on this Varus. So that's another substantial difference that we're seeing here. Not to mention, Clyde is a kill up, so...
Ooh, look at the damage from the bounce. Jeez.
And now that I realize, technically, if you're going to think about it, since LaFrance is running that item that wherein he gets a takedown on a minion, manages to share that gold with Clyde, that's not just 86 CS. You could also pair that up with whatever LaFrance got on this Tarek. So
yeah, quick maths.
Yeah, indeed. Man, that's crazy. And I think it's clearly now. Oh, look at Liana, though. Looks like going to get collapsed onto three members of Espionage, though. Liana's trying to run this out. Here comes LaFrance, though, to support his teammate. That's going to be that.
Ooh,
three-man stun onto the members of Espionage. They managed to take down Makulit, Sunzi, and Endless Ace. They're trying to run this out, and down he goes. That will be three members of Espionage collapsed on as Red Light wins that fight right there.
Oh my, that stun was absolutely amazing coming from the Tarek. Really well played. They're locking down three members. Such an insane show of mechanics.
Man, oh man, great response there coming in from Red Light. Just when you think that Liana is about to get fully collapsed by Espionage, the rest of Red Light make their way to respond, and that just played out beautifully. If you're going to look at the difference right now, Red Light now up 3,500 almost in CS with a 4-1 lead. This is going to be big for them.
Now look at the amazing dazzle here. This is a dazzling play, Arctic. It was chained as well into all of Aurelion Sol's damage. The stun from his star, his ultimate as well, and there's really nothing Espionage can do to respond from that much well executed of a combo.
Man, that was crazy, and it's like all the right elements as far as Red Light's composition just pretty much played out in that fight, and it's just a beauty to witness right there. Let's go ahead and see, though. Red Light, definitely a great start for them. They have a great potential to potentially build up on this lead that they have right now, but Espionage, you can't discount them just yet. We have yet to see. There's still a lot of elements that they could work with to get back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, like Tarek says, it doesn't hurt to be beautiful in battle, but it looks like there will be a slight 1v1 in the top lane.
Indeed, good boy. Gonna be
soon to be a 2v1.
Margaret, though, slowly make his way. Let's go ahead and see. Oh, he's going to glide his way in there. Kyler going to try to make an escape, gets stunned. We'll be getting a bit of damage there from Margaret, but still nothing that particularly leads to securing a kill.
Yeah, no ultimate there for the Aurelion Sol. Not going to be able to lock down the Camille any longer, but if he did get in trouble, Kyler did have his flash, so he was pretty safe right there.
looks like we won't be seeing anything. Looks like Endless Ace gonna deal a bit of damage there onto the turret. Will make up for lost grounds here. Margaret just making his way back to lane there, dodging around the Dark Spirits. Meanwhile, taking out Mahulit and Sunzi will get spotted out by that ward though, so looks like that won't lead to any successful against for Espionage.
Yeah, did you see Margaret there fancy flying, just dodging out every sphere that Endless Ace tossed at him?
Yeah, that was pretty styling, man.
I mean, beauty never hurts.
Not at all.
Just like Tarek said.
Yeah, it's really shown for Red Light, I gotta say. Meanwhile, looks like Red Light gonna try to go for their second dragon of the game. Let's go ahead and see if Espionage could contest this. Not that I see any actions that would lead to it being contested, though. So, I mean, Liana, though. It's like, we'll spot out Sunzi. Look at the damage, though. Sunzi trying to walk in. That's going to be Siobhan into Dragon form. We'll walk away, though, seeing that Hans was going to go for the response. Blast his way out of there, and that will be Dragon secured. Mission accomplished. Red Light.
Yeah, Liana doing the zoning duty right there. Really no real challenge coming from Espionage as far as that Dragon goes. Very well played there by Red Light. But, whoa, Kyler.
Wow, finally, we do see a successful gang coming in. Looks like Margaret, though, will find a bit of a treat here. Will try to go for Kyler. Manages to slow him down. Will he manage to secure the kill, though? No, that won't be the case as Kyler walks away scot-free.
Oh, no.
Oh, man, looks like that's going to be the route onto Liana, though. Hunt's forced to pop his ultimate in order to make sure that he avoids imminent death.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you give up this much farm onto that Shyvana. Already double the CS of the Jarvan. And like I mentioned, once Shyvana gets gold, she becomes very relevant throughout all the stages of the game. He's going to be a very impressive jungler. And right now, Espionage, they aren't able to set up around because of the deficit created by their jungler.
Well, Liana just continuing to style his way onto the camps of Lit here, still maintaining that half of a difference, 102 to 46. That's more than half, actually, now that I do the proper math.
Oh.
Liana actually going to get spotted out by that ward there. We'll have to walk away.
That's very scary for support, trying to face check first defense Sejuani, but realistically, what choice does Sunzi have? He's the only source of vision for his team. He needs to set up, but he needs the support from his team. They need to group up, prevent these picks from happening, because if Espionage want to come back in this game, they have to come online soon.
And what's tricky here is that as far as coming online, there's a lot of elements that they have to try to work around with here. If you notice, I think what's a pretty telling sign where an Espionage school has a lot to work on is, whoa, look at this. Liana and Margaret, though, I'll have to hold my thought right there as Hunt will get converged on by two mighty blue dragons chasing him down. That will be a hold there, and boom, Margaret secures the kill.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just a lone archer, there's really nothing you can do versus two massive dragons, and I like the color scheme synergy coming from Red Light. Both of them blue dragons, whoa, Clans, will they be able to take the turn?
But meanwhile, looks like Ron's going to be walking this way. Ultimate coming in from Clyde, dealing a bit of damage there. But yeah, color palette looking really well for Red Light there. But I mean, beyond the point though.
Yeah, they got a synergy. They even work well with the Tarek.
Yeah, and Tarek's blue as well. So I guess blue's the color for Red Light. I'm meant to being Red Light, technically.
Yeah, kind of weird synergy right there. It is working in their favor though. They just work. Yeah.
Indeed. Meanwhile, looks like Sunzi. This is what I'm talking about right here, though. This is one of the troubles that Espionage has. Looks like that's going to be another collapse onto Good Boy Makulit. Goes straight in for the Cataclysm, and he secures the kill. Checklist for Espionage complete.
Yeah, and that's one of the bright spots right now, really, for Espionage. They're playing around this top side very well because they know they can go for this kill, but whoa, Makulit!
Oh, Stun not connecting onto Makulit there, but he'll be going down. Margaret not needed as he glides his way there. Rift Herald is up for the taking, though. This could be a juicy objective for them to siege.
Okay, but looking back, I said that the bright spot for Espionage is they have Kyler ahead on this Camille. If Jace doesn't snowball in lane, it takes him time to become relevant again. And for Camille, she needs to translate her lead in lane to her teammates. She needs to set up her team if they want any hope of coming back. But right now, Red Light, they're just pushing the tempo, constantly trying to look for these fights, constantly taking these objectives all across the map, and the Rift Herald as well, going over to their side. There's just so much more pushing potential coming from Red Light.
And this is absolutely insane. 2 turrets to nothing in comparison to Espionage. But yeah, let's go ahead and touch on what advantage Espionage has. Like you mentioned, they could work on what Kyler has managed to establish as far as shutting down Good Boy there through the efforts of him and Makulit. But at the same time, one thing that Espionage has to battle with is that if you're going to look at the builds across the board, everybody gearing towards damage as well, with the exception of that Thresh for Sunzi. But then again, I think the thing that Sunzi struggles with as well is that since there's a lot of damage across the board for Red Light, and if you're going to look at his itemization, nothing that particularly leads him to actually dealing with that damage as far as either magic resist or armor. And that kind of showed itself earlier when he got collapsed on by Liana, wherein just a few bites from that Shyvana just manages to shred him down. So that's another thing that Espionage has to battle with until such time that they have a better reliable front line for Sunzi.
Yeah, I think you're correct right there, Art. It's very hard for support given that you get the least gold in most of these games. It's very hard to itemize defensively. You're just going to be locked down in trying to set up vision, and that's really what Espionage have to do. They do have a lot of pick potential. They're going for something now, but whoa!
Sunzi does not get to connect on that hook. Will play
He's very aggressive.
members of Red Light in, though. That's going to be a full stun onto Liana, but Margaret manages to take down Hunt. Looks like the rest of Espionage, they're going to try to back away. Here comes Skylar, though.
Oh,
Will try to
survived!
do something. Liana actually manages to survive, though, and looks like we might be seeing more of a fight, though. Good boy gets
What
the
a snipe!
onto Sunzi. That will be Endless Ace, stunning him away from further pursuit, but that will end in a 2-0 in favor of Red Light.
Yeah, oh my, the Tarek does so much work during these little skirmishes. The Cosmic Radiance saves Liana, saves the Shyvana from dying. Just one more shot would have killed him, but like I said, the Tarek, the invulnerability coming from his ultimate comes in the clutch for Red Light. And with that being said, they're gonna barrel down the mid lane and take down 2 towers, and this game is just
Spiraling out of control, man.
yeah, I know.
Let's go ahead and check out the replay, though.
This is such an aggressive move by Espionage. They know they need to pull the trigger soon. They need to go for a fight. Even though they're able to see Shane Liana for days, the Cosmic Radiance comes in right at the moment he needed it. And he's able to survive with just a sliver of health, stacking through every bit of damage that Espionage can throw at him.
Oh man, and it's so crazy. It's crazy how not only did Liana manage to survive, but boom, that snipe! So beautiful. 10 out of 10 right there. I don't know where that accent came from, but 8-3 right now. Let's go and check out the goal difference, though. This is what we've been talking about a lot in previous games, wherein once we usually see a team hit past that 10k gold lead, there's no turning back for them as far as establishing that lead. But looks like, take note, Red Light, they might be going for this Baron. Let's go ahead and see.
Very quick. They have a Blood Razor Shyvana. Will they opt to start this? They do. Espionage.
They're going to start. Let's go ahead and see if
Just
Espionage
make her
can go
break.
for the steal. There's a lot of pressure here for Makulit to try to get the steal on it.
Miracles do happen.
Will that miracle happen for Espionage, though, man? Let's go ahead
Will
and
Red
see.
Light risk the 50-50? They
Margaret
need to zone out the Jarvan.
Done. That's going to be a lot of damage up to Makulit.
He got him.
He goes down. Liana getting the kill. Kyler's going to be the next to fall.
Beat
As
it.
well as stuns. Looks like that will be the full decimation onto the members of Espionage. Endless Ace, the only surviving member. It looks like Red Light going to go take this Baron quite happily.
What a smart decision by Red Light. They're peeling for the fight to go off of the Baron, and with 4 members down for Espionage, there is no contest. This is such a free Baron for Red Light. Great show macro and great awareness right there. Going for the fight. They knew they could take it.
And this is it, Chiso. This is what I'm talking about right here. We've hit past that 10k goal difference between Red Light and Espionage. This is going to be big for Red Light. I feel like unless Espionage is able to hold their ground and get a full defense on, then this might be so tricky for them, because this could eventually lead to what could be a game finisher. But then again, it's all comes down to how Red Light plays out the next few minutes, and as well as how Espionage is able to go on the defense.
Yeah, there was a pause though. I wonder what that was, but we will be getting back into that very shortly. But looking back at the previous fight, what a smart decision by Red Light. Great awareness, because at this stage of the game, being that far ahead, they know they can take any fight. And given that they were pressuring Espionage into face checking the Baron, if Espionage don't challenge that, the Red Light will just run away with the game. And if they do manage to steal it, might be the stall, but wisely enough, Red Light not risking the 50-50, they hop over the wall, take down the jungler, and just clean up the rest of the fight.
Great turnaround right there indeed. Instead of focusing on the Baron, just switching targets right there, and worked out for them in the end. So
It worked out very well.
very well indeed. I mean,
You could say they put a Red Light on Espionage advances towards the Baron.
I see what you did there. But of course, ladies and gents, for those of you that have just tuned in, you guys are watching the Lenovo Legion of Champions, brought to you by Lenovo as well as Intel. Of course, we are your casters right now. I'm Mark the Service Fam. With me is Chisto, and you guys are watching Game 2 between Red Light and Espionage, our two finalists to determine who will become the Philippine representative to head to Bangkok soon.
And like you mentioned, during gold leads in these games, you mentioned once the 10k mark hits, it's very hard for teams to come back. And yeah, I have to agree with you on that point. During the Runes Reforged change, it has been extremely harder for teams to stall out games. The scaling, the snowballing has come even faster for teams, and without any of these defensive runes coming out, it's very hard for your tanks to get to that point where you can stall out games for maybe 40, 50 minutes, because there's been a trend where games end just around the 30, 35 minute mark.
We'll just have to see, though. I'm not sure how that's going to be going down later on, but still, what's really interesting here is that I think this is a tad bit of a different tempo than what we saw during Game 1, in the sense that Red Light a lot more convincing in this game, without a doubt. And I guess that pressure, definitely not feeling the pressure from getting that one win, you know, just, if anything, from what I'm seeing, from how they've been playing it, just boosted their confidence all the more.
Yeah, and that's a really big factor in these best-of series, whether it's a best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, you name it. Having confidence on your side, having that momentum, especially coming out of a rather convincing Game 1 win, that could really be the edge that you need in order to close out these matches.
And I'm really raring to get back into that game later, but
Same.
Of course, you know, we're just gonna have to hold off a bit. We're just checking in on a little bit of tweaking on the player's side, but don't worry, guys, we'll get back into the action real quick. We're just waiting for everyone to get settled, make sure everything's good to go. So yeah,
will Espionage mount a comeback?
Man, I'm really hoping for Game 3 though, just so that things are a little bit more intense. But then again, of course, in Red Light's case, of course, I want to go 2-0. Why not go for a clean sweep right there to end up the perfect day?
Yeah, tricky bias right there, Arctic, but if Espionage do want to come back, it's going to be a huge mountain for them to climb. I mean, it may look like an insurmountable lead, but it's League of Legends. Until your Nexus falls, you're really not out of it. I mean, the only way the game ends is if one Nexus falls, and maybe Espionage could pull off a miracle.
And there you have it, folks. As you can see on your screen, the players just waiting for the call from our marshals there, making sure everything is good on there. And of course, we are here live at the Green Office right now, where both teams are decked out in full Lenovo Legion. Pretty nifty.
Yeah.
I mean,
those headsets look nice.
I mean, man, I'd love to get my hands on those for streaming, but yeah, but I have the laptop though, at least. Same laptop as we have here. Wi-Fi 20. Good choice, good choice.
It's been serving you well.
Yeah, I mean,
Very happy with it.
Yeah, you've seen in the office. Like, I always have it with me, not just the laptop, but the bag as well. Served me well, man. Thank you, Legion. But I mean, let's go ahead and talk about this game a little bit more. I mean, like, from what you've been seeing here, who do you feel has been the key player for Red Light to just spearhead the lead that they have now, the massive lead, in fact?
I mean, we've seen a lot of dazzling plays coming from the bot lane, but as far as highlights go, I really want to say that it's the entire team of Red Light just playing extremely well across the board. They're just playing such textbook League of Legends, really great show of macro, the communication, the shot calling, very on point for their side, whereas for Espionage, I wonder, how can they bounce back?
It's so tricky, but now that I think about it, I mean, even when it comes down, like the question I asked, I think I'd have to agree to sharing that sentiment with you, wherein it's just the entire team working their magic. I mean, even with the Jace falling behind, still, like, that didn't deter them. And if anything, that Baron fight put that Jace back on the map. I mean, forget that 0-3. Everybody's working beautifully as a team. And if I have one player that I'd like to come in there, I'm happy to see that I could finally say that a crucial player to why we're seeing a lot of success from Red Light right now in this game is because of the support. I mean, that 3-man stun, I don't think I've ever seen that huge of value through that one stun, getting 3 members of Espionage. So if I had to pick a play of the game, that's my favorite one right there.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Was a very flashy play, I should say. Very, very beautiful to see. Those really flashy support engages, because supports rarely get the highlight really unless they're.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, but man, guys, looks like we'll be reaching the conclusion of this match in just a bit, but we'll have to hold you guys off a bit there. A little bit of suspense. So, for the meantime, we're going to be taking a quick break while we resolve a little bit of the jits that we're trying to resolve on the player end. But of course, once again, we are your casters. I'm Arctic at the service, man. With me is Chiso. This is the Lenovo Legion of Champions, brought to you by Lenovo and Intel. We'll be right back in just a few. Get a snack by, so stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lenovo Legion of Champions. Of course, once again, this is Game 2 between Red Light and Espionage. Looks like we're going to be seeing a fight
great
there.
flash.
Cataclysm onto Margaret right there. Cat to deal with 4 members of
Oh my
Espionage, but he
God.
actually survives. Manages to take down Hans. Looks like he's going to look for another casualty.
Whoa!
Abangan sa susunod na kabanata ng Legion
Zoom in.
of Champions.
And then just zoom in. Tune in tomorrow night. Pero, yeah, I do believe we will just have a slight pause. We'll be getting back very soon.
But great outplay from Margaret, though.
He's still outplaying them. He hasn't died yet. He's in the midst of a great outplay.
Yeah.
You can't say it in past tense. He's still
Oh, right.
outplaying them.
Correct. I apologize right there. But, man, considering that he was already dealing with 3 members, still manages to take down Hunt and still lives to tell the tale. Still will continue to live to tell the tale as we see another fight. That will be the stun onto Sunzi right there. He's going to be chased down by the members of Red Light. Down he goes. Double kill for Margaret. They're not done just yet, though.
they're coming for Mark.
Right be the next casualty. He's taking so much damage. Clyde manages to take him down. That will be 3 members total of Espionage that are down. This could potentially be the game, though. Baron empowered minion wave along with Red Light. Gonna push so hard. Inner turret, down you go.
Yeah,
Looks like
Red
this is going to be
Light.
inhibitor as well.
They're nearing Thailand. They're nearing international competition. They're gonna begin knocking on the base of Espionage, and right now Espionage's lead just looks so insurmountable for them. The members of Red Light are just so absurdly fed. I don't think they can defend this push. This might be the game soon, Arctic.
This could potentially be it indeed. Looks like this might be Espionage's last stand, though. That's going to be a full stun.
On
2
this
members
it.
are down. That's going to be 3 members. He's going to be trying to walk this out. He's going to be continued to pursue. Double kill for Clyde. Looks like Endless Ace and Hans, the only 2 members that are going to defend. Could they, though? That is
This
the
will be
question.
the game.
Red Light, that's 1 turret down. Let's go to see if Nexus turret number 2 is going to be converged on
It's
by
just a
Red
Nexus
Light.
between them and Thailand.
Ace. Let's go ahead and see 5 members converging on this Nexus. Endless Ace and Hans. They're trying to defend Endless Ace. You're going to get
That's
the full
it.
round. Ladies and gentlemen, they're representatives for the Philippines in the Legion of Champions. Congratulations, Red Light. You're heading to Thailand.
Yeah, great stuff there coming from Red Light. Just a very convincing win right there. Under 24 minutes, knocks down the Nex, and man, what an explosive ending.
Oh man, there you go, ladies and gents. Congratulations right there.
Congratulations indeed.
Red Light, after making the trip all the way here to the gig. And
Yeah, and now they're headed to Thailand. Just
in,
like that.
in a clean sweep, not to
Yeah.
mention. It was a very convincing 2-0, definitely. But let's go ahead and talk about that game. What do you think went wrong there for Espionage?
Like I said, one of the key factors would have been the play from their junglers, but looks like the jungler from Red Light, and not just the jungler, I mean the team in general, the teamwork, the communication, the macro, it was very on point. Movements across the map, just setting up play after play after play, which transitioned into all of these objectives going in their favor. And just when the fights happened, they made the clutch plays. These flash three-man stuns from the Tarek, very huge, using his ultimate to save his teammate. Just those clutch moments just tilted everything in the favor of Red Light, and they come out on top 2-0 over Espionage.
That was absolutely amazing right there. A great way to conclude the competition. Man, I gotta say, that was quite a convincing victory in the sense that I'm really excited for the Philippines as far as our chances in the actual international stage in Thailand. Once
Yeah,
we
I'll be
do
cheering
that.
for them, definitely.
Without a doubt. But ladies and gentlemen, what a day this has been. Congratulations to the friends and family and fans of Red Light. Straight away from Iloilo and Visayas. I'm pretty sure the team has done Visayas proud, but we have reached the conclusion right there. We have our representatives. Let's go ahead and root them on once they hit the international stage. But for the meantime, we're going to have to say our farewells. For the meantime, we have been your casters. I'm Mark the Cat Serves, man. With me is Chiso once again. Let's shout it out. This is the Lenovo Legion of Champions, brought to you by Lenovo and Intel. We'll see you guys again. But for the meantime, adios. Have a good day.
Now, but Sunzi does not get to connect on that hook. Will play with
He's very aggressive.
members of Red Light in, though. That's going to be a full stun onto Liana, but Margaret manages to take down Hunt. Looks like the rest of Espionage are going to try to back away. Here comes Skylar, though.
Oh, he
Try to
survived.
do something. Liana actually manages to survive, though. And looks like we might be seeing more of a fight, though. Good boy gets
What
the
a
snipe
snipe.
onto Sunzi. That will be Endless Ace, stunning him.
Going out to Jarvan.
Done. That's going to be a lot of damage up to Mako.
He got him.
He goes down. Liana getting the kill. Kyler's going to be the next to fall,
Baited.
as well as stuns. Looks like that will be the full decimation.
Right
Great
there.
flash.
Cataclysm onto Margaret right there. Cat to deal with 4 members of
Oh my
Espionage, but he
God.
actually survives. Manages to take down Hunt. Looks like he's going to look for another casualty. Whoa. Tail as we see another fight. That will be the stun onto Sunzi right there. You're going to be chased down by the members of Red Light. Down he goes. Double kill for Margaret. They're not done just yet,
they're
though.
coming
Endless
for
Ace
Mark.
right to the next casualty. He's taking so much damage. Clyde manages to take him down. That will be 3 members total of Espionage that
We
are
are down.
down. 2
On
members
his
are down. That's going to be 3 members. He's going to be trying to walk this out. He's going to be continuing to pursue. Double kill for Clyde. Looks like Endless Ace and Hunt's the only 2 members that are going to defend. Could they, though? That is the
This will be
question.
the game.
Red Light, that's 1 turret down. Let's go to see if Nexus turret number 2 is going to be converged on
It's
by
just a
Red
Nexus
Light.
between
And
them
that's
and Thailand.
Ace. Let's go ahead and see 5 members converging on this Nexus. Endless Ace and Hunt. They're trying to defend Endless Ace. They're going to get
That's
the full
it.
round. Ladies and gentlemen, our representatives for the Philippines in the Legion of Champions. Congratulations, Red Light. You're heading to Thailand.
Yeah, great stuff there coming from Red Light.